Hi, this is LPA's quarter 4 training on the top 10 most common help desk questions. My name is Newty Lore. I've been with LPA for just under shy of 5 years here, working as one of the tier 1/2 help desk uh, on call techs. This training here will again be very basic for the more common issues that us tier 1 techs receive. So hence this training, Q4 top 10 most common help desk questions. All right. So slide number 1 here. Perhaps one of the more or most common is receipt printer not working. You'll probably hear me repeat this a lot here, but one of the most common ones is fixes is, hey, let's just make sure that the receipt printer here is powered on and plugged in. So on the left here, when the receipt printer is not working, it's going to be very obvious. There is a paper indicator light here, but that is also the error light as well. It could be for either paper or error. It will flicker or flash orange amber there if there's any errors. Let's go back on here. Didn't mean to click next. And on the right side, here is the back of the receipt printer. As you can see, there is the power, that's a circular plug, USB on the far right, and then there is the cash drawer cable. And this we'll get into a little bit more on the next slide. But yeah, again, receipt printers, make sure everything's powered on, plugged in, and if need be, we may just need to unplug each cable individually, plug them back in, and restart the printer. Number 2, cash drawer won't open or saying but not available. How a lot of our customers are set up is we have this cable here, the cash drawer cable. This is a directional cable, so each end will be labeled to cash drawer or to Epson printer or to terminal printer, depending on the cable, but it'll be very obvious which end this cable plugs into. How this works is, as you can see, one end plugs into the cash drawer, the other end plugs into the receipt printer, the very far left end. It's sort of hidden under the printer itself. So it's the cash drawer plugs into the receipt printer that plugs into the cash or the register itself. So when a customer may call in saying, hey, the cash drawer is not popping open, we first immediately say, hey, is the receipt printer, does it have any errors? Because if the receipt printer has errors or it's not working, neither will the cash drawer. Oh, the slide 1 and 2 here, they're both kind of fall under the same umbrella. Number 3 here on Django not working, not processing credit cards, or when you hit the pay button, it says but not available. Again, make sure that the pay cables are plugged in, especially if you have the cable set on the left here. This is what the cables used to be shipped out with by default. It's as you can see, it's a quite a bit of cables here. So one end is just the power that will plug into a little Y splitter here. So you can see this little block, this cable here, plugged right into this Y splitter box. So one end plugs into the Ingenico, which is this port here, the larger port, and one end plugs into the register. So if any one of these may become loose or just not tightened, the Ingenico may remain powered on and just not provide any data or communication with the register itself. For a few of the other customers with the newer cables, it's just one cable here. Typically it's just this end here that becomes kind of loose. That just provides enough power for the Ingenico to remain powered on, but not send over any data. And as you can see, this is under one of the XR5/7 model units. So these are color coded. It only plugs in one way. You can't mess that up. And when you plug in this end over here, the cyan blue colored, however, whatever color that is, make sure you click, and it'll be very obvious if it's loose or not. All right, slide number 4. Unable to log into Counterpoint. A majority of the time, it's for the folks who use offline. This how offline works is it syncs with the offline register with the server every 15 minutes, give or take. And within the time frame, sometimes, for example, you have multiple registers, you try logging into register 1 twice and then register number 2 twice, that counts as 4 login attempts. So that will lock out your account if you especially have offline and you're just not aware. That's how the syncing works, where it's doesn't matter you tried once or twice on X station, it all counts towards your one big number. So that's typically what we normally see. The second issues that we normally see for the user not able to log in is, for example, say a manager may have signed into a register and they also log into another station in the back office to do manager things. Sometimes the Counterpoint remembers the last user login that was logged in. So when a cashier logs in for the first time in the day, they may not be aware, but this user ID may be the manager's user ID. And that's how the user is getting locked down. This can apply to really anybody. So for example, cashier number 1 hops on from 1 to 2. Their last login credentials is saved on number 1 as well. So sometimes they maybe get locked out like that. So just keep an eye on this for all employees. Just to make sure you have the correct user ID login. All right, so number 5 here ties back to one of the earlier slides. It's sometimes the Ingenico is powered on, it's sending data, but it just needs to be restarted. In CR and Ingenico, they recommend us to not unplug the cable, leave the cable plugged in at all times. Sometimes when you unplug the power cable, the physical power cable, it may trigger the Ingenico to go into sort of a encryption mode where it thinks that it's being hacked, and it's going to encrypt itself to prevent that from happening. So to manually restart the Ingenico, what you do is these are 2 of the more common ones. This is IC250 on the left here, and you see you just hold the clear button and the minus button at the same time for about 3 seconds. You'll hear a beep, and the Ingenico will restart itself. On the newer models, there's this new button that has like a period, comma, pound symbol. You want to hold that button and the yellow button. I did the same thing for about 3 seconds, and it'll reboot itself. And of course, relog in the Counterpoint, and the device should reconnect. Number 6, previewing reports. So on the left-hand side here, say for example, this is just a ticket at a list. I'm just clicking preview, and sometimes you get this fun error that says page is not large enough for the formats and contents. The cause of this is whichever machine that you're on, that you're trying to preview from, whatever printer that it's set to the default, that is what it's trying to set the page format to. So for my example here, I have my default set to a label printer, Zebra label printer. So that is why Counterpoint is saying, hey, the page size is not large enough. If for some reason I had seen this, or Counterpoint will do a preview page, but then you only see the first couple of letters and everything else is cut off. All you got to do is hide the printer that you actually want to be your default, and right click, set as default, and you'll get this little green check mark saying, yep, that's your default printer. So when you hop back in and do a preview on Counterpoint, you'll be able to preview your screen fine without getting this error. Number 7, one of the another common one is say a manager or supervisor has been editing touchscreen buttons in the back office for half an hour or so, give or take, and then when they log into one of the front registers, you get this fun error with these touchscreen buttons. They're overlapping or hidden or just too large to fit all the buttons properly. This is caused by a Windows resolution. So when you're again, more than likely it's going to be a manager or supervisor that's editing these touchscreen buttons in the back. How the touchscreen here formats is it formats to its current screen resolution. So for example, you're in a back office and you have a big monitor and you're editing these buttons. When you go up front to one of the actual registers and it's not the same monitor size, this is what's causing the issue, where it's saying, hey, it's expecting for you to have a 1920 by 1080 screen, but the front register is only 1200 by 800. That's where this overlapping issue happens here. So the recommendation here is whichever register that you're editing the touchscreen button on, make sure that's the one that you're going to be running up front as well. And just so we can avoid this issue here. Otherwise, it would be just a lot of time wasted trying to edit these buttons just to find out you got to re-edit them. All right, number 8. Say that you Counterpoint, when you log into Counterpoint, it'll give you an error saying, hey, some devices weren't able to load, or device failures, services failed to load. And you verify that all the hardware, like peripherals of cash drawer, receipt printer, and Ingenico scanner, everything's plugged in, but none of the devices are working. That we do see this. It's more of a severe issue here, where sometimes it may require you to call LPA to verify you admin access. But this is going to be number 8 and 9 here is going to be one of the more technical savvy ones, where if you ever get that error saying, hey, failure on device's startup, all you have to do is on the start menu, hit the Windows button on the bottom left side, type in services. You should be able to find this little gear icon here, preferably run as admin. And if you don't have that, again, call LPA. Once you have the services app open, all you got to do is really just select or click any of these icons or options here and type in NCR and look for this one here, NCR Counterpoint Device Services API, and click Start or Restart and let it do its thing. It's going to have a loading bar for a second, and you should be able to log back into Counterpoint and load the devices. If there's any issues, again, give us a call. This one is a little bit more tech savvy, as well as the next slide here. So number 9, we don't typically get this one, but we do see it from time to time, and it's just saying, hey, for whatever reason, your touchscreen just doesn't work anymore. You can't tap anywhere, or if you're tapping on the left and it's thinking you're clicking on the right, the issue is really you just got to recalibrate the screen. So in the control panel here, and again, this gets a little bit more technical, so you may need to call LPA, but what you need to do is same thing as earlier, is open the Windows button on the bottom left, type in control panel, and then once in control panel, look for this option here that says tablet PC settings. You have to click on that and then hit this button called calibrate. Once you hit calibrate, you'll see these 4 or multiple screen here saying, hey, tap on the screen, and you just got to follow this little we'll call it crosshair here on the top left, and just move left to right and straight down on each one of these corners. Once done, it'll say, hey, calibration is successful, and that is all you need to do. But again, this one, 8 and 9 is a little bit more technical, and give us a call if you have any issues or need help with it. All right, number 10. This one's going to pertain mostly to the folks who are accessing Counterpoint through what's called a RDP, a remote desktop connection. A lot of our hosted customers, they use offline in the front, and then on the back office, they use this live connection here. Sometimes when you're opening or viewing reports and it just locks up on you, and you hit the X button and log back in, you come right back to where you started because your session is locked at whatever you're doing then and there. How to escape from that is on your keyboard, you have to hit the Alt, Control, and N button here. Once you hit these 3 button combinations while you're in the RTP session, you'll get this little screen here that says lock, sign out, change password, task manager. You want to hit the sign out button. This issue here is, I'm trying not to get too technical, but there is this method that you're connecting to Counterpoint is through an RDP. When you hit that X button on the top, it is closing out of just your login, your remote session, but your actual Counterpoint session that you're using, it's still active. So that's why when you log out and in, it just comes back to a frozen screen. Restarting your computer will not fix that issue. You will need to do this method here where you got to hit the Alt, Control, N to sign out. If for some reason doing this doesn't fix your issue, give us a call and we can do what we could on our end to help get your session here unlocked for you. And yeah, this is again top 10, a pretty short list here. If you have any questions, please, if it's an emergency, call us at the number below there, the 3855 number. If it's not an emergency, please email us and just give us a quick description saying, hey, this is happening. You would like this to be looked at X date. But yeah, if you have any other question, please just email or give us a call. Thank you for your time today.